Perfect. So, hi guys, welcome to the call this week. Last week we talked a lot about the training side, more talking about workouts. This week we are talking more about nutrition. I think a big thing and a big thing to wrap your head around when you're someone that's maybe starting on a weight loss journey or just starting to be someone that's taking your health and fitness seriously, you're heading in the gym, is building meals. It can be like, okay, I've now got to eat meals that are like decently high protein, that are balanced. Sometimes it can be a lot and it can be a lot of info overload. So I want to break this down today. And the main cool topic for today is how to build and plan meals without overcomplicating it and without overthinking it too much. And that's going to be the main call of today. I want you guys to leave this call feeling like you've got a really simple, easy, followable structure on how to build out your meals, how to do it in a way that is painless, really easy, and fits in with your life and whatever your lifestyle looks like. But before we dive into that, you might have just seen this. We've just put a post out on our Instagram. We are hosting a free masterclass next week. It's going to be next Thursday at 7 o'clock UK time. We're opening this up to the public because we're always trying to give as much free value as we possibly can. So we've just launched it. We should hopefully have some ladies that aren't in patient fitness coming to join the call to hopefully learn loads and learn as much as possible. You guys are all absolutely welcome to come to that as well. So it's going to kind of be like a bonus Zoom call next week. It's called Masterclass 99. It's going to be about an hour long. And it'll be the same format. You guys will just send out the Zoom link. You can join. You can keep your cameras off, stay muted. It's going to be a deep dive into the process of losing weight. Everyone that's going to be on that call is looking at losing a minimum of 20, 30, 40 kgs mainly. And obviously, you guys can come to this as an extra call if you would like to come to this as well. Whatever we're opening up to the public, obviously, you guys being with us, you are welcome to come to everything as well. So if you're free, put that in the diary. It's going to be 7 o'clock Thursday. Adam and I are going to be hosting it together, which will be nice as well because we've not done that for a while. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. But yeah, put it in your diaries and come if you guys are free because it'll be really cool for those ladies to see you guys that are in the program and to kind of see some examples of that, which would be really cool. But let's dive into today's call anyway. So, this call mainly is about making nutrition simple, realistic, and easy to stick to. And I want you guys to come away from this call, hopefully reconfirming or realizing that you don't need complicated meal plans to lose fat. You just need a really simple structure. You guys know me, I say this all the time. I hate cooking. I would not be someone that's in the gym that is a personal trainer and a coach if I had to spend my whole life cooking. Like, there's no way that I would have stuck to it. So, the good news is you don't have to either. If you're someone that loves cooking, I salute you. That's fabulous. That's amazing. It's just not me. So, if I can get to a place where I'm meal prepping food in a way that supports my goals, whether I'm losing fat, building muscle, whatever it might be, honestly, guys, if I can do that, I'm absolutely useless. You absolutely definitely can as well. I'm like worst case scenario. So I think that most people overthink nutrition, especially if they're not used to thinking about their nutrition in terms of more from like a fitness angle. A lot of people feel stuck because they think every single meal now has to be perfect. You need loads of different recipes. You need to be trawling on Instagram, finding the latest viral recipe that uses every pot in your kitchen and 20 different ingredients every single week. They think that they need healthy food only, the kind of like, oh, clean eating only now sort of club. People suddenly think that they now have to cut out everything that they love and they can only eat salad. And they also feel like they need to just completely overhaul everything as well. That is the complete opposite of what we teach you guys inside this program. If anything feels overly complicated, feels like you're overhauling your entire current routine, and feels like it's totally unsustainable, surprise, surprise, it's not going to work. So the way that we design this program, we don't give you meal plans. We don't give you really complex, complicated recipes because that stuff doesn't work. It works in the short term, but if you want to lose weight or build muscle and keep your transformation for life, you have to do something that's realistic for your lifestyle and sustainable. So the way that we work is we want to give you education to teach you how to build meals no matter the season, no matter what your schedule is, rather than just giving you a blanket meal plan or getting you to do things that are just really crazy complicated. We don't work like that because it doesn't work. So when people think they need to eat in this way, this creates overwhelm, it creates inconsistency with nutrition, and it very, very quickly creates decision fatigue. Simple is what works better, 100%. Now, what I want to make really clear before we dive into sort of like the main part of the call is that the goal here is not perfect eating. There is no such thing. You do not have to eat perfectly. You don't have to eat salads forever now because you're someone that is taking your health and fitness seriously and trying to lose weight, trying to build muscle. The goal is instead with the nutrition is finding meals that keep you full or fairly full when you're trying to lose weight, meals that you enjoy, meals that support your current goal, whatever it is, and meals that you feel like you can just repeat consistently, almost on autopilot. That consistency is going to be perfect eating every single time. So I'm going to give you a very simple meal formula now. If this is new information for you, or if you're someone that feels like you maybe struggle with this, you want some extra guidance, I'd recommend taking some notes on this call. Even if you have your phone near you, if you just jot some stuff down on your phone, you'll really benefit from that. But the simple meal formula that I want you guys to live by, and this is also called the plate technique, if you ever hear me talking about the plate technique, every meal should ideally include protein. Some very brief examples of protein here: chicken, eggs, yogurt, tofu, fish, beef mince, etc. There are obviously loads of others. We did a call on protein a few weeks back, actually, specifically. So if you guys haven't heard that call, go back to our YouTube and watch that to get a bit more of an in-depth talk on protein. But these are just some examples. Protein, you then need some carbs, right? Carbs are good for energy. Rice, potatoes, pasta, wraps, oats, fruit. Fruit are carbs. Fats. Fats comes from dairy, cheese, milk, olive oil, or any cooking oils, avocado, nuts, nut butters, all that sort of stuff. We want to be aiming to try and have all of those things in our meals or in the majority of our meals. And then the final thing you need is you need volume and fiber. That comes from vegetables, salad, fruit, and things like beans, pulses, lentils, legumes, all that sort of thing. That's where you get your volume eating and a lot of fiber from as well. All of these things, when you're someone that's taking your health and fitness seriously, if you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to gain muscle, this is how you want to structure your meals the majority of the time. But you do not need to overcomplicate. And this really is, when it comes down to it, how you want to break up your meals and what you want to be following by. So the first step that you want to do with this is you want to build your meals around protein, and that is the habit that you want to start getting into. This is the easiest way to stay on track. So instead of asking yourself straight away, oh, what sort of thing do I fancy eating? Like, do I fancy having some sort of pasta thing? Do I fancy something with rice? What do I want? Instead of that, I want you to flip that and now start to ask yourself, what's going to be my protein choice first of all? I know it sounds a bit gym bro-y. Even though we give gym bros a hard time, this is actually not a bad way to think. And I greatly encourage this when it comes to your nutrition. Start thinking when you're thinking about your meals for this season of life that you guys are in by being in the program. What's my protein choice first of all? Once you've picked your protein choice, then build the rest of your meal around it. This is so useful and so good to do. And even though it seems really small, it's a great tip because you're going to feel more full after meals. Game changer, especially if you're trying to lose weight at the moment. It gives you good structure. It gives you consistency in your fat loss. And also, as a byproduct, it supports your muscle building and your strength building. So all of this stuff is really useful. So step number one is you need to start thinking, where's my protein in this meal for the majority of your meals? The next thing is you need to keep your meals repetitive. Now, I am not saying you need to eat the same thing every single day and you need to be bored by your food. That is absolutely not what I'm saying. We still want to make sure that you're enjoying what you're eating, that you're eating recipes that you enjoy eating, that taste good, that fill you up. But it's a very good idea to just have a few recipes in your toolkit that you repeat through often. This is because it reduces thinking, it reduces decision fatigue, it makes your food logging much easier, it saves you so much time, and it improves your consistency. If you're someone that's trawling through every single night trying to find recipes, and you're always reinventing the wheel, always trying the latest complicated recipe, no wonder tracking feels so difficult for you. No wonder tracking feels like such a pain. It's because you are creating a new meal every single time. So you're having to relog it, trying out the recipe. You know what it's like the first time you try a recipe out as well. I mean, I'm a terrible cook, so it is for me. The first time I try out a recipe, it takes me ages because I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What am I using? When am I putting this in the pot? When am I doing that? It takes me so much longer as well. So if you're constantly doing new meals and new recipes, you're just making your life so much harder for yourself when it comes to weight loss than it needs to be. So my recommendation is you should have 3 to 5 breakfasts, lunches, and dinners that are high protein, that are going to help you lose weight, that you enjoy, and that are pretty simple. And when you just get bored of one of those, swap it out. So if you start off having overnight oats, and after a couple of months, you're like, I hate overnight oats. I'm so bored of them. I'm sick of them. Bin off the overnight oats. put something else in. Every time you get bored of one, swap it out for something else and just keep it really simple. This way is so good as well because when it comes to tracking your food, you just save those recipes onto MyFitnessPal. And then when it comes to retracking your food, it will take you 10 seconds to track the whole meal because you've saved it. And then just relogging it couldn't be easier as long as you're using the same measurements every time. Super, super easy. Here's an example or a couple of examples of just really easy fat loss meals. First example, grilled chicken, rice, roasted veg, and some avocado. So the grilled chicken is going to give you your protein, the rice is going to give you carbs, the veg is going to give you some carbs as well, but lots of high volume eating, going to help you to boost your fullness, lots of fiber, and the avocado is there for some healthy fats. Example 2, beef mince, potatoes, salad, a Greek yogurt sauce, and then some cooking oil to cook your mince in. The beef mince gives you protein. The Greek yogurt sauce gives you protein. The potatoes gives you carbs. The salad, again, fiber, veg, fullness. And the Greek yogurt sauce and the oil is also going to give you some fats. Super easy. Example 3, for any of you guys that are fellow veggies or vegans like me, a tofu stir fry. So tofu, noodles or rice, veg, and then probably a bit of oil in there that you're using to cook the tofu. Super simple. Tofu is your protein, noodles or rice is your carbs, veg is there for fullness. Then you've got some oil there that is going to be in the fats. And there is a little bit of fat in tofu as well. That is so simple to think about. You're covering all bases, you're getting all those 4 things in, but it's really simple. And all of those recipes would probably take you 20 minutes to make. And you can batch cook them super easy and just keep them in the fridge as well, or even freeze them for a later date. That is an example of just some easy cheat code fat loss meals. But what you might think from that is, Zoe, isn't this just really boring? Am I not just going to get bored of my food? That is a very common thing to think of, and it is a valid question. And if you are eating just the same thing every single day, if you're eating oats for breakfast, chicken for lunch, beef for dinner every day, yes, you're going to get really bored. But that's why I mention having 3 to 5 recipes that you rotate through often that you love, and then just swapping one out when you get bored. But just because you're keeping your meals simple because you're trying to lose weight, that doesn't mean you're now only eating chicken, broccoli, and rice forever. You very much can still enjoy your food whilst keeping it simple. And all of this stuff that I'm telling you today, guys, is exactly what Adam and I do as well. In the week, we cook all our food from scratch, but we have recipes that are pretty basic, very easy, very quick. The way that we make them enjoyable and give them variety is if we're often using similar ingredients, particularly when one of us is trying to lose weight, big game changer, use different seasonings and use different sauces. So the shop bought blends that you can get, oh my God, game changer. We've recently, over the last few weeks, started using those Maggi spice mixes. It has like spices in the bottom and then it has that plastic bag on the top. So you just get whatever you're going to cook, chuck it in the bag, put the herb blend in there and a little bit of oil, and then we just put that in the oven. You can get different flavors, so you can mix it up and keep it fun and keep it with good variety. But that stuff is so easy. Even picking up like a fajita seasoning mix from the shops and using that some weeks and then picking up a different one the next week. That already automatically gives you a lot of variety whilst keeping things simple and using similar ingredients when you're in this phase of life. Different herbs, different spices, different low calorie sources as well. Like all of this stuff is how you really add variety. It's similar ingredients, but it will end up tasting like a completely different meal. Also, just changing how you cook things gives so much variety as well. So whether you use an air fryer, a stir fry, a slow cooker, if you oven roast something, if you pan fry something, if you grill something, if you change out what you're using, carb wise, if one day it's like a protein bowl, the next time it's got some pasta in there, the next time it's got loaded potatoes, the next time it's got wraps. That's how you give variety without overcomplicating things and making things really difficult for you and feeling like you're doing different recipes all the time. Same foods, but different experience. This makes a huge difference. Even if right now you're like, can it make that much of a difference? It honestly makes a massive impact. And this is exactly what Adam and I do, which means that when we're working in the week, because like Adam and I do work really long hours. We love what we do, and being self-employed, I know all of you guys in here that are self-employed, like you can just work and work and work, can't you? So sometimes we do work really long hours, so we don't have time to do really complex recipes. So we stick to this protocol, if you will, and it works super well for us, and I know that it works super well for you guys as well. The next thing to think about here is stop trying to eat perfectly. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when they get started with health and fitness, paying more attention to their diet maybe than they ever have, is they now kind of think, oh, I've got to eat like I'm on a diet, whatever that means. That usually means we go back to default or we go back to old habits that haven't served us in the past. So it means small portions, eating foods they hate, or starting to do, oh, I'm only doing clean eating only. I'm cutting out everything that I love. I'm not having any chocolate. I'm not having any alcohol. I'm going cold turkey and I'm only eating veg, causing crazy restriction. And as a result of that, getting a lot of cravings. Like if you cut everything out that you absolutely love from the get-go, a couple of weeks in, you're going to be like chewing your arm off, thinking about the things that you've cut out, and lo and behold, you're probably going to binge in a couple of weeks. So these are the mistakes that I kind of see people making, particularly at the start of their journey. It's just being aware of that and not going back into those old habits. Your meals, using this process and using this protocol, should feel satisfying, they should feel realistic, and they should feel enjoyable as well. And here, guys, the 80-20 rule is really what I want you guys to kind of live by. What I mean by that is, for anybody that's new here, 80% of your week, when you're trying to lose weight, particularly when you're trying to build muscle, you should be filling your diet with high protein, balanced meals, lots of whole foods, 80% of your week. But 20% of your week, no matter what your goal is, make sure that you are including things that you really enjoy. So if you're watching this and for you, that's you love to have a glass of wine, that's your way of winding down. That's the way of like spending quality time with your partner. Don't completely cut out alcohol. Don't completely cut out wine. 20% of your week, put that in there. If you're someone like me who has a massive sweet tooth and absolutely loves chocolate, there is no way in hell that I'm going to do a calorie deficit and I'm not going to include chocolate because I will just be miserable and I won't stick to it. So 80% of your week, yes, we want to be thinking about this stuff and filling it with healthy, whole food, nutritionally dense stuff. But your life is also for living, and food is also a source of enjoyment. And it's not only, and we shouldn't only be thinking about, oh, I just need to get nutrients, it just needs to be health. Make sure you are including your favorite things as well 20% of the time. If you do that and you can go with a bit more of a balanced approach there, you're going to find it so much easier to stick to a calorie deficit. Your adherence is going to be better, and you're not going to feel like you are missing out on life because you're just trying to lose weight. So that 80-20 rule is something to really good live by, and stop trying to eat perfectly. Planning ahead is going to change everything for you guys as well. So a lot of the time, poor food choices happen. And when I say poor food choices, if I'm thinking about somebody that's trying to lose a lot of weight, losing a minimum of 10 kilos, for example, a poor choice, in my opinion, would be there wasn't any plan. You've just kind of grabbed something because you're really hungry, and it's something that is really low protein, quite carb heavy, not much balance, not very much fruit or veg added into there. And we're doing that often. That's kind of what I mean by a poor food choice, I suppose, when it comes to fat loss. But most poor food choices happen because there just wasn't a plan to begin with. And if there's no plan with your food, you wait until you're absolutely starving hungry and you're also really busy with work, you're probably just going to grab whatever is easiest. You're not going to think, oh, I'm going to stop for a second and do some meal prep, or I'm going to stop for a second and make sure that I've got loads of protein in this meal. You're busy and you're hungry. You're just not going to think like that. So being willing to do a little bit of meal prepping, planning ahead, creates control and it creates ease. So this is a weekly meal planning system that I have for you guys. So this is an important one. If you're going to take notes, this is a good place to take some notes. So planning your meals when you're thinking about what am I going to eat this week? If you're about to go to the shops and do a food shop, okay, what sorts of things am I going to get? This is the step by step I want you to go by. Step one, pick out your protein sources. Choose 3 to 4 easy protein choices for the week. So that can be, this is not an exhaustive list, this is just some examples, but chicken, beef mince, tuna, fish, Greek yogurt, tofu, seitan. Any of those sources, depending on what your diet is. These become the base of your meals and the thing you want to think about first of all. Step 2, choose some really simple carbs that you enjoy. It could be rice, potatoes, pasta, wraps, oats, bread, whatever it might be. Keep that simple, keep it repeatable. Step number 3, choose your fruit and veg. Fruit and veg is really good because obviously we know it's got loads of vitamins. I'm not going to pretend you guys don't know that. Eating fruit and veg is good for you. But it's also really good because we talk about protein a lot being the thing that keeps you full when you're in a calorie deficit, and it does. But a superpower that is often missed is also adding in lots of fruit and veg and lots of fiber. It's so good because fruit and veg is very low calorie, so you can have a large amount of it for very minimal calories. So you can go for high volume eating when you're creating your meals. And it's a really good thing to think of adding in lots of that when you're trying to lose weight because it's going to make you feel like you're eating bigger portions You're not going to feel like you're having tiny weeny portions. You've got a decent size there because you're adding volume with loads of fruit and loads of veg. So it's really good for that reason. Volume foods just help fat loss to feel easier. The final step for you there is just to add in some fats. So fats, particularly good because they're good for our hormone health, good for vitamin absorption. But these can be anything. These can be maybe the cooking oils that you're using to cook your protein sources in. Maybe it's some avocado on the side if you're not using oils. Maybe it's some nuts or some seeds or some nut butters, whatever it might be. And then the final thing from that, step 5, is build 2 to 3 easy meals around those foods. So if you've made those choices, you can now think, okay, right, I can put chicken, broccoli, and rice together. It doesn't have to be your go-to meal, but it can be. Beef mince, potatoes, and salad might be the next one. A Greek yogurt bowl and fruit might be the next one. And then seitan, potatoes, avocado, roasted veg might be that if you're plant-based. You don't need loads of meals. You need a few meals built in this structure that work. When it comes to meal prepping as well, your meal prep doesn't have to be extreme. Building your meals doesn't need to be extreme. Meal prepping doesn't need to be extreme either. It doesn't mean that you're now eating cold meal prep from containers all week, every week. It doesn't mean that. If that works for you, that works for you. You don't have to do that either. Meal prep can simply mean when you cook your dinner in the evening, you make double the amount so that you can take it to lunch, take it for lunch to work with you next day. It can mean just preparing some protein sources ahead. If you have a weekend where you're like, I've got barely any time, I've got maybe 30 minutes, maybe you don't prep whole meals. Maybe you just get your food shop delivered and you just prep some protein sources for the week. Maybe you get some chicken breasts and put them in the oven. Maybe you put something in the air fryer. Maybe you grab in some cottage cheese or some Greek yogurt and leave that in the fridge. And it's about having easy options ready as well. That might mean having some stuff in your freezer that you can kind of use as a go-to and just having some easy stuff readily available for you. It's anything that makes your week easier. Anything that makes your week easier and saves you time in the week counts as meal prep, and it doesn't have to be crazy extreme with every Tupperware in your kitchen being used. Make sure that you build meals for your life as well, and this is really important. This program is not a one size fits all. Every person that we work with and all of you guys who we work with, everything is tailored for you. So it depends on your life, your circumstances, and what you have going on. So you should think of the same for yourself as well. Your meals should fit your schedule, your family, your budget, and your food preferences. If your plan only works in completely perfect conditions, it's not a plan and it's not going to last. You need something that takes all this stuff into account and feels like something you can repeat week on week, regardless of how mental life is. This is just a extra thing of what to do when you're really busy as well, because it's all really good and well saying, yeah, just meal prep every week and just do that and you'll be fine. There, of course, are going to be some weeks where you guys are crazy busy. We had it a couple of weeks ago, like when we moved in, like when we moved house about 3 weeks ago. We spent the whole weekend moving. We got to Sunday night and we were like, oh my God, we've got nothing. We haven't meal prepped anything. You're gonna have weeks like that, of course. So here's what to do in those weeks. Get some backup meals ready. So get some stuff in your cupboards that you can just use as a go-to. So that might be having some protein powder in the cupboard. So you can do a protein shake with some fruit. High protein ready meals as well. Like there is no shame in that whatsoever. I think I said this on a call a couple of weeks ago, but Aldi do really decent high protein microwave meals. And there isn't too much salt in there. There's not that many preservatives and additives. They're actually quite balanced and not bad at all. I think they're a really solid choice if you are someone that's having a mental week and you've got no time. These are something that you can use. Having something really quick like wraps or eggs on toast or a Greek yogurt bowl or something like that, something that takes you less than 5 minutes to prep. Also, just having stuff in the freezer ready to go as well. So, some protein sources that live in the freezer that you can just grab and use whenever you need to. Or maybe you made a meal prep a couple of weeks ago. If you have extra, chuck that in the freezer and think that's going to be used at a time where I am really busy and I've got no time. This convenience, even if what you've prepped isn't the most healthy, balanced meal, whatever, it is much better to do that than to skip meals and overeat later or have absolutely nothing in your toolkit and then go down the rabbit hole of maybe getting something like a takeaway or a delivery, which is just going to be a lot more calorie dense when you're trying to lose weight. So the real secret here, the people who succeed, the people that lose, 20, 30, 40 kg, whatever it might be, some of who you guys are on this call right now, depending on where you're at in your journey, the people who succeed do not have complex meal plans. They do not have crazy fancy recipes and they do not have perfect diets either. I don't have a perfect diet. I would never pretend that I didn't. Like I said, I love chocolate. Like, no matter what my goal is, I'm never going to live my life without having the stuff that I really love. But what these people do, they simply keep meals really simple. They repeat the basics. They try to plan ahead as much as possible, not taking into account busy weeks, and they just stay consistent with their nutrition. So, to kind of round out this, a quick reflection exercise for you guys. So, I want you guys to ask yourself right now, if you think about the meals that you've had over the last few days or over the last couple of weeks, what meals have kept you feeling the fullest and the most satisfied after you've eaten them? Are there any meals you've had recently that you think have caused overeating later? If you're thinking about this now, what I probably can tell for you is that the meals that have probably caused that are the ones that are lower protein and not very much fiber added in there. That's probably what I would recommend. But once you've thought about that, okay, what meals have actually worked really well for me? What have kept me fairly full? What do I feel like have caused me to overeat maybe or to snack? And then from that, what are three easy meals that I could repeat this week? What are three super simple, crazy, crazy basic meals that taste really good, that fill me up, that I could repeat going forwards? That simple awareness is going to help you to create better choices. And the final thing I want to say to you guys before we wrap up is when it comes to nutrition, you do not need to overthink it. In a lot of cases, simple is what works best. Keep it really simple. When you're building your meals, pick your protein first. Think, where's my protein in this meal? Build the rest of your meal around it. Do a little bit of planning ahead with your food shop if you can, even if that means just prepping a few protein sources before a busy week. Find what works for you and just repeat what works. Simple meals done consistently is going to always be a couple of perfect meals that you stick to occasionally. That is everything for the call this week. I hope this has been really helpful. Like I said, I know that nutrition, particularly if you're kind of not used to this and this is maybe a bit of a new thing for you, it can feel a bit overwhelming. It can think a bit like, oh my God, have I now suddenly got to become a chef and have I got to overhaul everything overnight? You absolutely don't. And I hope the call today has shown you that you can do this in a way that is quick and is super simple if that's what works for you. It's been great to have you guys on the call. For those of you that are listening now, anyone that's listening back to this as well, if you have any further questions, anything that's confusing, you're not sure of, you're not understanding, you know where I am. Drop me a message and I can help you out with that. But it's been great to see so many of you on the call. Have a great evening, everyone, and I will catch you at the next one.